Max here, and today we're going to be looking at this. This is the Article 1 from Heretic Labs. Now, I've been using this gun maybe about 8 or 9 months, and I absolutely love this thing. This thing is just an awesome gun. This thing shoots bitches all day long. So, let's do a little review on it, but maybe not this one. This one's my one. I've done a couple of things to improve it. So, we're not going to look at this one. We're going to look at this one. So, disclosure time. What is my affiliation with Heretic Labs and Wolverine? Absolutely nothing. This gun was bought and paid for by me, same as the other one. They both belong to me. The store I bought them from, same story. No cash changed hands here, no discounts, no freebies, not even a patch from the store I bought it from. Next time, throw one in maybe. This is like the 4th or 5th HPA gun I bought from you guys. Pretty much, I think all of them are MTWs at this point. But yeah, these are mine. I can be pretty honest about them. I've got no skin in the game. So yeah, let's get into it. So this is the Article 1. What you see is what you get. No stock, no tank grip. Either of those two options will need to be purchased separately. The stock is the far cheaper route to be going, especially if you already own a reg. You can pretty much just use a line and a reg and put a mil-spec stock on here and you'll be good to go. Any MTW stock will fit on here. They're all mil-spec GBBRs, so gas blowback rifles. They also use mil-spec, so look for one of those stocks. AG stocks, they're slightly smaller. The diameter of the actual buffer tube is slightly smaller, so there will be wobble when you're threading it in. You'll notice that even if you tighten the retention nut on the back, it's probably not good for the gun. So rather just get yourself a mil-spec stock. The tank grip, on the other hand, is quite a bit more expensive, but it does include a Cat 5 regulator. So you're looking at €250 to $250 in the States. And yeah, like I said, that includes the Cat 5 from Wolverine. It's a really nice regulator and is custom built for that tank grip. There is the Article 1 Type S. This is a collaboration between SpeedQB and Wolverine, and that already comes pre-installed with a tank grip. It's got one or two other little things on it that make it quite nice, but it also costs $1,000 in the US, so probably around 1,200 to 1,300 in Europe, euros that is. I personally prefer the tank grip. After 17 years of paintball, I just feel way more comfortable with the setup with a tank on it. It's just personal preference kind of thing. You can run a stock, you can run a bare bones like this. I have a teammate who runs his with no stock, no tank grip, and he loves it, absolutely loves it the way it is. All options work really well. Well, I do think it's a really, really great gun. The Article 1 is not perfect. There are a few things that I feel hurt it a little bit, especially at the price point. Remember, this is a 900 to 1,000 euro gun in Europe, which is about 1,100 American freedom dollars to my US viewers. In the US, the gun's slightly cheaper. I think $795 for the black and about $850 to $860 for any of the colorways. At that price, a couple of things should not be the way that they are. So let's dig into the good, the bad, and the ugly of this gun. So let's talk about the good about this gun. This gun is designed around the Inferno engine, exactly like the MTWs. This is pretty much just a billet that's been turned into a speed gun. This is a HPA first gun, so there are no AG versions, there's no gas blowback versions of this gun, it's all just HPA. And this has one major advantage, basically no alignment issues. The engine, the Hopup, and the barrel all fit in the upper, which kind of just helps so much more. If you've ever built an HPA gun in a V2 or V3 gearbox, you know the pain of alignment issues, you know the pain of trying to get shit to fit. Sometimes just doesn't fit perfectly. Then you got to Dremel some of your gearbox away till you get your stuff to fit in properly, or you have alignment issues and then it just shoots really shittily, the seal's bad, whole host of problems. You don't have that here. This gun just works perfectly out of the box. If you take it apart, strip it, do some maintenance, put it back together again, it's going to go back together exactly how it did when it came from the factory. Not always the case with the V2 and V3 gearbox builds. You might put it back together and it's just going to be shit again, even though it worked perfectly the time before. So this is just a big advantage over some of the other platforms. Let's talk about the second thing that I love about this gun, skeletonized. I love the fact that it's got a skeletonized upper and lower. This thing is just really, really sexy. I love the color options that they have. You got the orange, as you see behind me. We got the silver, there's a purple and a black. I just don't really like the black that much. Even when I was playing paintball, I didn't buy black guns. They're just too boring for me. But yeah, the skeletonized is really, really nice. Looks super sexy.
Yeah, boy.
Brings down some of the weight. You don't get the full Picatinny rail at the top, which also helps bring down some of the weight. Also just looks really, really nice. Really sexy gun. So when Wolverine teased the Article 1, I knew I had to have one. There was a company a couple of years ago in Germany, like 2-3 years ago, that was doing a custom mold and skeletonized billet. And they Cerakoted it and then we did a splash design on it. It was really fucking sexy. They didn't do them anymore. They haven't done any since. And so when I saw this, I had to grab one. Now I have 2 of them. They just look really, really nice. Then the next thing I like about this, though I can't use it because I live in a country where that's not possible. We have semi-only rules here. So both of my guns come with semi-only, which is not a problem. But I do like the fact that it comes with binary.
What?
I know some of you are going like, oh, binary. Binary has its place. So people felt the same way about ramping in paintball in the 2000s, and now ramping's a thing. It's a norm for all tournaments. Most tournaments around the world all use ramping, and why it works is because they cap it. I don't mind people running binary. If you cap it to 10, 12, or 15 balls per second, or BBs per second for rate of fire, I think that's perfectly fine. It kind of, what it does is it removes this RPS kind of war that you had before where everyone's trying to shoot faster and faster. Just cap it at 10, cap it at 12. That's more than plenty for playing. So binary does have its place. I do think it's a cool feature to have.
Stop it. Get some help.
It is unique to the Article 1s. You don't get it on any of the MTWs. None of them have it except for the Article 1, which is kind of cool. Then the next thing I really like about this is you get an adjustable trigger out of the box. On top of that, it's got a Delrin bearing on the inside. Bearings for paintball triggers are quite common. Bearings for airsoft triggers, not really. I don't think I've got any other guns that have a bearing in it. I know there's some like 3D projects that have added bearings to their triggers, which is kind of like an aftermarket thing, or it's coming from a specific company. But other than that, you usually don't find it. So that's a big plus for this gun. Then let's look at the outer barrel. You get a 5.5-inch outer barrel, carbon fiber, real carbon fiber, aluminum end caps, and this is really nice. It looks really, really nice, brings down the weight substantially over a handguard, so really nice little feature. Then talking about the weight, I weighed mine. Mine comes in at 945 grams without the battery. So if you add the battery, you're gonna add a couple of grams, but yeah, that's super light, under a kilogram. That is less than the weight of 4 Big Macs for my big American friends out there. That's around 2 pounds. So it's just, I think it's just under 2.1 pounds. So really, really, really nice. So let's talk about the bad. And labeling it bad is a bit misleading. It's not that bad. It's personal preference, some of the part of it, but some of it is just actual feedback for Wolverine. We'll label it the not so great, ready for improvement category. And to start it off, we're going to talk about the board. I don't like the Spartan boards. I don't like them in the MTW platforms. I don't like them for V2 gearboxes. I don't think it's a great way of setting anything. There's so many better solutions. Just thinking about like 20 years ago, early 2000s, paintball, that's where this board kind of is. By the mid 2000s, there were some great boards on the market in paintball. Companies like Virtue brought out fucking fantastic boards. You don't have that. You were 20 years later here with this, and the board's not that great. Sure, the board is perfectly serviceable if you intend on shooting the gun out of the box, never changing anything. It's going to shoot just fine. It's perfectly serviceable for that. If you intend on just changing your dwell, get into the programming modes, there's a video on Wolverine's website where they teach you how to do it. Like I said, I personally just don't like it, especially when I'm paying €1,000 for a gun. I expect a little bit more from the board. I expect maybe some improvement from Wolverine. Not expect, but you know, it would be nice to see some improvements. Maybe give us an LED that flashes to indicate how and where I am in the dwell cycle. Like, I don't know if I'm high or low. This live tuning, I just don't like it. I find it really stupid. So there are companies that do a much better, like, kind of implementation for settings on boards. Think about Gate with the Gate Titan, and of course Gorilla Airsoft with the Gorilla board. By the way, the Gorilla board, they do have a version for the Article 1 and for the MTW. You're looking at about $170 to $200, but vastly improves the performance of this gun, in my opinion. I think they're really nice products. The guys are also really cool, and they're also very open to feedback. So that's kind of just it. The board is meh. I just don't like setting it ever. It just irks me a little bit too much, but it's usable. Then the next point is the trigger. The trigger is a pain in the ass to set. So you have the 3 set screws. None of them come pre-installed, by the way, in the trigger. You're going to have to take the gun apart, take the board out, because with the configuration of the Spartan board, you cannot get to the rear screw. So you're going to have to install the screws. You've got the pre and post travel screws, and then you have the micro switch activation screw. Now the thing about this gun is the board has a little bit of movement and play in it. That means that if the upper isn't installed and you pull the trigger pull is very different from when it is completely reassembled. So what you need to do is you need to take the board out, set all your screws, then put your board back in, kind of think and get to where you want to be. Then what you got to do is you got to put it all the way back together again, plug it in, put a battery in, and then you can hear the micro switch activating through the solenoid. And then you'll notice there's slightly different, and you've got to take it apart again, readjust either the activation or the pre and post travel screws to get to where you kind of want to be with this. And it sounds like it's a like really hard thing to do. It's not that hard. It's just annoying. That's the biggest thing. It's just really, really annoying. But once you've done it, a little bit of Loctite on the screws, or else you're going to be redoing this every couple of months. So put a little bit of Loctite on those grub screws to keep everything in place. Once it's set, it's perfectly fine. As you can see here, this is you got a fairly long pull here, whereas compared to one that's been set a little bit better, yeah, massive difference. So that is it for the trigger and the board. Both could maybe be improved somehow. I'm not sure about the trigger yet, but the board definitely, there's some stuff that could be done to improve it. And we'll move along to the next thing that I'm not too happy about, and that is this. This is the new PTS EPM mag. This is the MTW one. I already had the one that came with the orange MTW, replaced it. It has never, ever fed a whole magazine ever in its life. In our team, we got 3 other guys that run them. All 3 of them don't use this mag. It just doesn't seem to work properly. I think it's more a problem with PTS than with the MTW or the Article 1. So if you look at the normal EPM 1 mags and the 1S mags, there are issues that they don't feed reliably in this gun. You either have to put a little bit of felt in the back of the mag well, and so that it holds the mag a little bit better in the gun, or you got to push it up while playing. There's just a bit of an issue with that. So let's talk about the ugly. This is kind of proper negative thing about the gun. My orange one has an insane amount of frame wobble. It already has the retention screw in it, so I put the screw in, this little Delrin screw. It goes between the lower and the upper, and it pushes onto the upper to prevent it from kind of wobbling. It's something that the MTW community has spoken about for years already. There is a bit of wobble between the upper and the lower frame. This one is insane. That is the wobble on my orange gun. It's really annoying. I did find a solution, so the screw's already in, but it still wobbles. I 3D printed a tiny little spacer for the front of the gun with that installed, and with the screw in the back. it's maxed out, I can't screw it any tighter. It doesn't wobble anymore. But if I didn't do that, that's the wobble I would have. If I was running around, that wobble would just drive me insane. It's just something I don't like. It's not as bad on the silver. Oh, let's get that hose. It's a little bit, but the silver one hasn't had the retention screw in yet. So that little Delrin screw hasn't been installed here yet. So I'll have to install in here and I'll have to see. Then the next thing that I'm just not so hot about, which I find ruins it a little bit for me, is this gap. There is a gap between the outer barrel and the body. Like, they could have just made it a little bit longer. It's just ugly. It looks like it was an afterthought. As you can see, like it's a big gap. It's not nice. It's visually a little bit annoying. Maybe they'll change it on the newer guns. Maybe they'll make the outer barrel, the aluminium fitting, just a little end cap that screws on to the upper a little bit better. But as it is right now, it's just not that great. So that wraps it up. It's not really like a super in-depth review. This review is more just about like some of the things that I really love about these guns and some stuff that I just don't like about them and some of the stuff that I just really hate that I wish would be fixed at some point. But everything's fixable. Frame wobble, like I said, you can put something in to wedge it to stop it from wobbling. It's not going to affect the performance whatsoever. The board can be replaced if you really want to replace the board. You can do a couple of things to upgrade it. This orange one shoots bitches all day long. Like, this thing puts BB warheads on foreheads. It doesn't matter if I'm playing indoor or outdoor. It's just a great performer. I really like it. Silver one, it's not going to stay in the stock configuration. This thing is going to be upgraded. We're taking this bad boy to 4th base. You know, we're going all the way. There's going to be a really nice video. It's going to come up next. It's pretty much just going to be a full out, what can we really do to this gun video. And I'm really, really excited about that. So if you want to see that, just like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Peace out. This thing shoots bitches all day long. You want to be a bona fide bitch hunter? Get one of these. That's what you want to do. You want to get one of these and shoot them bitches.